So let's talk about how to adjust. So we got a 968 here that we're doing balance shaft and timing belt. So let's talk about how to adjust those belts. So it should be part of a common check. And it's very simple, just pop the cover off and check. So this is the factory tool to adjust tension. It's kind of weird to use, so you just gotta make sure that unloaded, you're at your 0, right? So it slides up and down like this. So you pull this out and then you slide it up and down. That's how you pre-tension it. So you just come up here and then you just make sure you're at your 0. And then to check your calibration, you just take this little guy like this, pop this guy in here like that, and it's supposed to read 4, which it does. If it doesn't read 4, take a little 1.5 millimeter Allen, you go in there and you adjust until you read 4. So now we know that the gauge is set up and is calibrated. Now I'll show you how to adjust it. So what you do here is you just pull this pin out and then you go down into the unlocked position right here, and that obviously gives you enough room to get a belt in, right? So that's the checking phase, and then that's the unlock phase. So let's show you how to do it. So you come to your car, right? So this is the gauge, this is the tension of the belt that we're checking. There's a couple of different things that you have to do. So you take a 0.5 feeler gauge, and what I like to do is I just slide it under the belt and I watch this pulley. And if I slide it under the belt and that pulley just barely moves, right, there's no tension on this, if that pulley just barely moves, then I'm pretty good pre-tension. So I slide it in this way, I have no drag, and I slide it left and right and the pulley moves just a little bit here. So that tells me that this roller is supposed to be set 0.5 millimeters from the bottom, this pulley down here. So 0.5 millimeters, and then with 1 millimeter of pre-tension here, it's supposed to barely touch. So the only way to really figure out if that's 1 millimeter pre-tension is some sort of a height gauge, but I just kind of eyeball it. So this is the one that I can check accurately. So as long as I know I'm there, then I'm probably pretty good up here. So let's adjust the tension on this. So we take our belt, we've already verified that that's good to go. And then you take this guy and it's in the up position, so we need to go into the down position. So we have our tension freed up. And then you just find here, slide it in there and find yourself a good rib, right? So you want to center this down into the tooth on the belt. And then basically what you do is you just roll this guy up into the lock position and just let it hang. Right here we're at about 2.5, and I need to go to 2.7 plus or minus 3, and I'll loosen this up and I'll pre-tension it. So I need to pay attention to my gauge here, which I can barely see. Let me push it back up, and there is about a 3. So I'll do that and tension this. This is where the tricky part is tensioning this down, tightening it down, because it's very microscopic movements. Come on, there we go. So that's about a 3. And then I'll torque that in a second. But if you go down there and look, we're right at 2.9 to 3. So you can just take your thing right here, pull this thing out, relax it, verify we're back at 0, and that is how you set balance, belt, tension on a 968. The top one, this is hydraulically tensioned. So there's no adjustment on that. The earlier cars had a manual adjustment, but this is a hydraulic tension. There's no tension on that. This is about right for this belt. So that's how we do it. So I guess you could probably freewheel it. You could probably do it and say, hey, that's probably good enough, but we need to be able to sleep at night. And for us, accuracy is the most important. That's why we buy all the special tools for all the cars.